Welcome back to Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. My name is Tails Fyraga, and in the last episode, I forgot something, as I apparently tend to do. In the last episode, we discovered that the worlds had merged and that we can now access the Pyramid of More thanks to the page in the Sacred Tome. In today's episode, however, I need to go back to the Library of the Ancients for a sec, because there is something that I forgot. Which, you probably want to get it before you go into the Pyramid of More. Talk to this guy. When we were burning this book, this song came out of it. Learned Mana's Paean. I believe in the Japanese version it's just simply called MP song, so you think it would restore MP, but actually it increases magical strength instead, depending on how long you sing it for. So it's another one of those sustained songs. Now, I actually do have some things to do in this episode, and one of them is to swap Ferris out to a bard for a bit, because the next area we're going into actually has a lot of undead enemies, and Requiem is going to prove very useful in that case, especially because we're going into a dungeon with only 3 party members. So welcome to the Great Pyramid of More. The kind of mediocre Pyramid of More. Honestly, it's not my favorite dungeon in the game. I can turn encounters back on, now that we've done our backtracking. Pyramid of More has a little bit of puzzle solving for us to do, and a few items for us to go out of our way for. And Lamia Queens. Everyone's favorite. I'm gonna cast Kira on you. Bart is going to destroy himself. He's going to rip himself to shreds. That's all fine and dandy. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of undead mobs in this dungeon, so having something like Requiem that's going to enable us to hit undead mobs pretty hard, gonna be pretty darn good. I've got the white magic on for Ferris as well, just so that she can get a bit of that magic power boost too. Alright, sand flows. Stand in them, and you get knocked down to the lower floors. Which isn't too bad, all things considered, because there's usually treasure off the beaten path. And hey, sometimes there's some enemies too. Now, I could roast these guys with a good old Ifrit, but Requiem is also going to do a lot of damage to them as well. Requiem will kill most of the undead mobs here in one hit. I say that because there are some mini-boss type enemies that it's not going to kill in one hit, but even so, for groups of undead, Requiem still ends up being one of our best bets. Got ourselves an ice shield, which is all very nice. If we head all the way down and loop around, we're actually going to get to a mini-boss type enemy. I should have brought some fire scrolls too. What I'm learning from coming back to doing these is that with the kind of spur-of-the-moment decision-making that, like, present Tails makes, future Tails, when he actually has to, like, catch up and edit and see what his past self has done, is always just, like, exasperated, just like, oh, I really did this? Come on. We got 2 Lamia crowns out of the deal from that last encounter, though, which probably nice. I think that's actually a pretty decent bit. A pretty decent bit of equipment. I pity you. Lamia's tiara prevents confusion and enhances the ability to perform sword dance. Ooh, can I equip that to? No, I can't. Because you've got the dancing dagger, so I was thinking, well, the person with the dancing dagger may as well get the opportunity to use swords dance more, but that's not the case. I can do a little bit of restructuring if I need to. You know how much health these guys have? This monster can't be caught. Okay. There's also a lot of mobs in this area that just simply can't be caught for whatever reason, like the snakes you can't catch, the Grand Mummy we'll encounter later can't be catched. catched is the word. The catch as catch can. Let me fight you, Snake. I need that AP. I need that power. And you're going to give it to me. Requiem. Kill the fool. Still doing pretty nice damage, all things considered. Okay, I guess those guys are kind of useless for AP, so they're really just more of a trap. Alright, open the sarcophagus. And inside is a mummy. With a big ol' head. The Grand Mummy. Despite the name Grand Mummy, he's not so bad to fight. Of course, fire and healing attacks and the ability to hit the undead are gonna be pretty damn strong against him. Gonna Cura on Ferris here. Just to heal her back up a little bit. Grand Mummy is also another enemy that you can't capture, unfortunately. So a lot of the points where you'd actually want like a Beastmaster. But I'm gonna keep on Beastmaster for a little bit longer, just so I can get some of the skills for Beastmaster. The Grand Mummies at the very least give you a little chunk of a AP, so that's not too bad. And the chest contained Cursed Ring. Now might actually be a good time to talk about the trade-off items. So there's a few items in the game like this where they give you a huge amount of power in one aspect, but are bad in another. So we got the Bone Mail earlier, which that's a lot of defense. And the Bone Mail prevents most status ailments and increases your defense significantly, but makes you undead in the process. The Cursed Ring, meanwhile, I don't know why I switched off of Bart's to show it, but the Cursed Ring, again, really powerful defensive utility, but it casts doom on whoever wears it. I think there's one more item that's like this, and it's the Thornlet, which I think is a very defensive helmet, but it also deals damage over time, which is not good, but I mean, you can kind of mitigate that. Ooh, these guys. These guys are not weak to Requiem, but if I get them with someone like, say, Titan, that should put them into catch range, because these guys don't have much health. Titan. Doing a pretty decent chunk of damage, yeah. They don't have much health at all. So I'll just have that, Ushabti in the back pocket just to catch, or just to use, Flash or something. One thing to note about these Ushabti is that they can cast Off Guard as well. And that Off Guard, Off Guard would be better if we didn't already have it from the Magic Dragon, but still a pretty good chance to do it. The problem is, however, you need to give them MP in order for them to actually be able to use it. And you might not want to use one of your valuable ethers or elixirs on one of them just to give it to you, and that's fair. Definitely hit the release button, but thankfully we're gonna keep onto it. Just keep a blind in the back pocket, a free blind for later. I'm honestly not a huge fan of this dungeon, all things considered, because this is one of the longer dungeons out there, and the encounter rate, obviously, it's a little high. It's just a little bit, but it's also just, I don't know, a lot of the later enemies in this dungeon are really, really obnoxious. Like, the early enemies, they're fine, whatever, we're killing them with Requiem pretty quickly. But the later enemies are like, damn, these things are just obnoxious as hell to fight against. And the other bad thing about this dungeon too is that there's just a lot of, I don't want to say forced encounters, but there's a lot of times when the game is just like, you will encounter this enemy here and kinda, ooh, this works, nice. Didn't think those guys could be petrified. We definitely have a way around that. Unfortunately, another Aspis comes to take its place. I can switch to Ferris. Let me sing you the song of my people. It's called Wonderwall. Ooh, he did not like that. There's also a lot of little mini puzzles here, too. Like, I move up there, and all 3 of these chests are traps, and we've unleashed snakes. Like, there's just a lot of times where you kinda can't avoid fighting things. And a lot of the enemies here also, like, the ones that are the field encounters or the trap encounters, you also can't run away from them. So if you're thinking just, oh, I can conserve all of my resources by just running away from everything like a coward, or a smart person, you can't really do that with a lot of the enemies here. So this might actually be a time where I might shut up during some of the encounters just so that I can cut them. Alright, we've got the Archaeosaur. Seeing Requiem. And now might actually be a good time for me to release that Ushabti just to blind you. Never mind, you're immune to blind. Okay. It doesn't work. I'm gonna summon Golem here. Put up the walls. You're not gonna break the wall down. You're not Chris Jericho. I catch you. The enemy's still too strong. Okay. You have a lot of health. Oh, that's gonna kill no one. That is in fact not going to kill anyone. I don't like being in poison kill range though, so I'm just gonna bring everyone to the medical center real quick. Just kinda, you know, heal them up. Can I petrify you? May I please petrify you? No. This guy is just kind of a butt, isn't he? Zombie breath. Oh, that does a lot of damage. That's the other thing that's crummy about this place. Alright, Kryl, heal yourself back up. I'll use a holy water on Ferris next time I get the chance. That goes through the guard, too. Oof. Holy water. Yeah, now we're getting into the part of this dungeon where I'm just like, you know what? Fuck this dungeon. Fuck this dungeon in particular. It's not a fun dungeon. It's not a fungeon. I guess Gaia's Wrath to try to deal some damage? Maybe? I mean, I could also just throw things too, but even then, that's still using a resource. There we go. Oh, you know why I probably couldn't catch them? Because I don't have the Cornago gourd equipped, do I? Do I? No, I don't. I have a silver armlet instead. Also, that was a white robe, which... yeah, that's gonna be good for Ferris. Made for those who use white magic, so... we are gonna have a little bit more powerful Requiem, at least. Get rid of poisons. Get rid of all the toxins. Flush them out. You know, it's a great way to flush out all those toxins. Drinking water, baby. Oh, right, I can't catch these things, that's right. Well, Kryl's just wasting a turn. I think I got control last battle, though, so that's kind of the real reason, like, I wanted to use Beastmaster in the first place, was just to get that skill. Because it's gonna make using, learning blue magic a lot easier. So I think I can swap you off to something else. Kryl, how would you like to be... Dragoon. Give you a Dragoon, and I'll give you... Dragoon and Control. There we go. So you're gonna have a lot of defense now. You're gonna be our tanky one. You can tell she's the tanky one because she's small. Here we go, climb up those stairs quickly. And here is a pretty unfortunate room to be in, because these things suck. These are mecha heads. And you might notice, oh, they look kind of familiar, don't they? If you're familiar with the Final Fantasy series, you might realize that these mecha heads look an awful lot like Omega. And there's a reason for that, because Omega does make his debut in the game, and these are recolors of him. Omega is a recurring boss enemy, and we're going to be encountering them much, much later, when I am much, much more prepared for it. Unfortunately, we don't have very much power right now. I probably should have actually made Kryl a Mystic Knight. That probably would have been better. Can you be stopped? You can be stopped. You may have noticed, however, that these guys have an attack called Interceptor, which prevents you from jumping at them. Thankfully, they don't have too much health, all things considered. They're not worth any experience, but they are worth a pretty okay chunk of AP, so it might be worth fighting these guys for at least a little bit. But I am gonna have to be careful. There's like 11 of these things in this room. They do have some pretty good not black magic, blue magic spells if you don't already have them. Mustard Bomb is not a blue magic spell in this game, and it's definitely not as frightening to get hit by as it is in frickin' Final Fantasy IX, where Mustard Bomb puts the heat status on someone. And if you don't know what heat does in Final Fantasy IX, that's a doozy of a status. Heat basically, if you're familiar with Final Fantasy XIV, it's kind of like the pyretic thing that a lot of bosses give, except way worse. Because heat means that if you take any action at all while you have that status, you die. Which is not good. Definitely not a good thing to get hit by, but just kinda crumple and die. It's sort of what happens. I think one of these paths is gonna lead to the next room. And I think the next room is a save room, so we've kind of only really got just one of these mecha heads left to fight, and then maybe I'll be able to get to the save room. Do a little attacking. Don't know if I can control you. The enemy is under your control. Ooh, nice. That will buy us a little bit of time. So, with the ability to control people now in place, so, question marks, let's see what we've got. Ooh, okay, I can basically trick this thing into killing itself, huh? Try that again. And then the damage doubles. Might as well, get that going too, just for a little bit more healing. And then the damage doubles. And I think you guys are gonna see where this is going, because this next one's gonna do like 5,000. And then the damage doubles. Yeah, control's pretty cool. And of course that releases more snakes. Well shit, if control is gonna work on these things, then maybe I'll fight all of these right now, actually. As a matter of fact. Control! The enemy is under your control. So, do they break out of control if I hit them? They do. Okay, so it's like Confuse. You can obviously tell that I have not used Control or Beastmaster in previous playthroughs. And it's kinda looking like either Control has low accuracy or I can only control once. Oh, there we go. Alright, so it just has an accuracy check. So, with a little bit of prior damage, should be able to convince this thing to die once again. Give me Kryle's turn, and die! 4,036 damage. Man, imagine you can just do that. Imagine, like, you face off against a killer giant robot, and are just like, yeah, you're a deadly force of nature, but I'm going to trick you into punching yourself over and over. I wonder if I can control you too. Now I'm getting curious. Now the power's gone to my head. Control. Oop, nope, that missed. But we don't know if you're immune to it yet. It could just simply be that it missed. Some things tend to happen. So we're going to try it again. Control. Missed. Okay, well that's fine, because I input another attack anyway. That would have immediately broken them out of control. You are not attacking with anything particularly threatening, sir. Which scares me, honestly. Normally, I would have thought that you would have had Poison Breath or Zombie Breath by now. But I guess you've decided to give me a break, which I appreciate. Into Dragon Fang from that. And there's a black robe. So if we have a black mage, someone that would like the power of black magic, then that would probably be a good robe to give to them. Alright, 3 mummies. These mummies are alive, but they won't be for long. There's a lot of, like, weird 90s shows that I missed that probably would have been right up my alley had I seen them. And to be fair, there are definitely shows from the 90s that I did see as a kid and did see a lot of merch for at the time. Like, I remember going to Toys R Us with my grandma and seeing, like, Street Sharks and Sonic Underground. And even seeing the Sonic Adventure figures. Yeah, there we go. Sonic Adventure figures. I actually have one of the Sonic Adventure figures because it's a reissue they did for Sonic X. But the thing is, the Sonic Adventure figures, they all had like a button on them that would allow you to like, they're the big figures that have the button that when you press them, they would say things. And the button is still very clearly molded onto like the Sonic X reissue I have, but it does not have any like internal mechanism or anything like that to like actually say things, and the button doesn't work. It's like kind of painted over and glued on. Ooh, that's gonna kill Kryle. Nope, I don't like that. I mean, it is a good thing that I went to that save point. Excuse me, sir, could I get you to don't... I'm actually gonna heal everyone back up before I get Kryle back up. Probably. As much as it's good to bring a party member back up, I also need to make sure my currently alive party members don't suddenly bite the bullet. Or the wave cannon, as it were. Come on, try that wave cannon shit again, I dare you. Don't do that, actually. I don't actually want you to do it. I'm daring you, but I actually, you know, if you just kind of want to not do that, I think I would appreciate that more. My dare is kind of like, you know, being a little bit facetious. You know, I don't really need you to actually sock me in the mouth. If I could get you to sock yourself in the mouth, that would be really cool, and I think I'm gonna do that again. If you kindly would, please. Oh man, that's a great way to kill those things. I had no idea. I had no idea control would be so powerful. But we are in control now. Also, I think I may have mixed up the number of mecha heads in this area with the number of another enemy later on that also has a field encounter. Now, you got me curious. Can I control a mummy? That's not a no, but that's not a yes either. So I think I'm just gonna sing my little song, do my little dance. There we go. Got another holy water, which is good. We needed that. Hey, there we go. There's the thornlet. So it's just the third of the cursed items that has some sort of bad property to them, but is very powerful. Again, very strong defenses, even stronger than the Genji helm, which is the best helmet in the game. Gradually decreases the wearer's HP, but prevents sleep. Which makes sense. I think it would be pretty hard to sleep when you've got needles poking into your esophagus. Not the esophagus, I mean, it could be the esophagus. Alright, sir. Thank you. I wonder, if I hit him with a lightning scroll, is that gonna break him out of it? No? Okay. And that's a lot of damage put on you, so I can very easily get you to destroy yourself, to destroy your own sweater by pulling this thread as you walk away. Lying on the floor, that mecha head has come undone. Contained an elixir. Looking around to make sure there's no other things we missed. I think we killed all the mecha heads. Yeah, looks like it. I could kill an Aspis just for that last little bit of AP for Bartz to get that next ninja level up. But I'd rather not. It's not really that worth it otherwise. Alright, 3 rooms off to the side. 2 of them have treasure chests, and there's 2 staircases leading upward. I think you know where this is going. There's another Lamia Queen. We're not afraid of you anymore. I mean, we weren't particularly afraid of you at the beginning anyway, at the onset, but now we're really not afraid of you. Arts mastered First Strike. Means that he can now pass on the ninja's ability to get more guaranteed first attacks to someone else. Lamia Queen, Ushabti, and Rajiformis. Rajiforms? Razzle Dazzle? I don't even know. Basically, it's another Stingray-looking enemy. And it looks like a mini version of what would eventually be Death Gaze in Final Fantasy VI. A lot of switches to push, a lot of sand flows to stop. Oh, you! You are a pretty interesting enemy, honestly. This is Zephyrus. And Zephyrus has some pretty nasty stuff up her sleeves. She doesn't even have sleeves. So what nasty things could she have? Wow. Words are very difficult. This world is very difficult. Feel my power. Alright. Zephyrus, of course, summons enemies into the front line to guard her. These enemies are generally going to be powered-up versions of enemies that we've already encountered. So things like the Undergrounders from Galuf's world, these Bio-Soldiers, and Zephyrus will of course try to support her homies whenever possible. Some of the enemies here that are summoned by Zephyrus actually have some blue magic spells for us to learn too. The Undergrounders in particular actually have a blue magic spell called Level 3 Flare. which is very good. Basically casts Flare on any enemies that are a multiple of 3, and since there are skills that can manipulate an enemy's level, etc., basically that means that if you're smart enough with your play, you have Flare against every enemy, which is pretty darn nice, all things considered. You know what? I can control you. I can't control you. Oh, I can't control you. I wish I could, though. I love you so much, and the fact that I can't control you, that I can't have you, only makes me love you even more. Hey, that weirdness aside. I should probably just keep jumping on Zephyrus, actually, just so that I can get some damage going. She doesn't summon any undead enemies, so Ferris is kinda limited here. I guess I can throw a shuriken at you. Shuriken! Just reminded now of all the Japanese that Chip Zanuff speaks in the Guilty Gear series. In case anyone's not familiar with Guilty Gear, the character Chip is basically a weeaboo ninja. Used to be a former drug pusher, turned into a ninja, and he's obsessed with Japanese stuff, even though he's an American. Ooh, lots of items in here too. I feel like this was the correct way, though. And I don't know that I particularly like going the correct way. You know, sometimes I like to go the wrong way. Sometimes I only know the wrong way. Well, these guys aren't a particularly big threat. They have a low amount of health, so Titan kind of brings them to critical and then just stab the rest of them. There we go, Cryomastered Lance. So, you know what I will do? I will jump into these pits and see what lies down here. In here is not much, except it totally is. Ooh, you! You are a rare encounter here. And I think I can only actually encounter you once. I think once you're dead, I can't encounter you again. This is Sekhmet. You may know him from Final Fantasy VIII. If you're familiar with Final Fantasy VIII, you might be familiar with the Brothers Guardian Force. Brothers are actually a reference to enemies from Final Fantasy V, obviously. They are a reference to Sekhmet and his brother Minotaur, my brother in the tower will... Okay, what was it? I know in, it's like Sacred and something else in Final Fantasy VIII. And now I'm blanking on the name. Even though they're like my favorite Guardian Force animation. Oh no, why am I blanking on them? Why am I blanking on my boys? Either way, they're a reference to enemies here, which makes sense, because Final Fantasy VIII had a lot of involvement from Nomura, and this was the first Final Fantasy game where Nomura did the enemy designs. So, it does make a lot of sense. Oh, you won't be confusing me, but perhaps I will confuse you. Yes. Yes! The power! What skills does Black Warlock have? Ooh, he has a lot of instant death spells. That actually makes a lot of sense, all things considered. Wait for Kryle's turn again. Alright, destroy you. Ooh, that missed. Okay. Not entirely a fan of that missing. Might have to just defeat this Bander Co-World the normal way. Bander Co-Worlds, though, they're actually in Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. Encounter Bander Co-Worlds as an enemy in one of the zones. Can I confuse you? No, I guess I can't. Or you have high magic evade. Whichever one seems to be the case. And there we go. And what's in this chest? Black Garb, which that's actually for Ninja, I think. Yeah. So, increase in strength, increase in agility, increase in defense, decrease of weight. So, Bartz is gonna get a little bit faster now. Unfortunately, we can't access that area up there. We'd need to fall down from that from the upper floor. So, I'm actually gonna turn encounters off for a sec just so I can backtrack and check this area. Although you can't stop the forced encounters. You can't stop the music. Ah, 2 snakes, 2 chests, and monsters! Another encounter against the Damned, which we can easily solve thanks to the power of Requiem. That's just like the tagline for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 at the end of it, just, we can solve this with the power of Requiem, and hey! Now we have Sing mastered for Ferris. Which means I can actually put you to another job. Oh, I think that might actually be our first mastered job now, too, now that I think about it. Because Bard's really easy to master, it only requires like 175 AP. But yeah, there we go. Any job you've mastered. All those skills can be used on Freelancer, and all of their stat modifiers can be used on Freelancer too. So now we have a Freelancer with the powers of the Bard. Any innate, like, passive traits also become applicable to Freelancer as well. However, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Let's give ourselves a singing musical black mage, so we can start learning the rest of the stuff we need for the... You guys... I was not expecting you guys to be in this dungeon, okay. I forgot you guys were here. I mean, at this point, these guys shouldn't be too much of a threat, I say, knowing that they have break. Mainly just have a fair chunk of health. And there we go. There they go with the break. I don't want to take a break. I want to play my video games. Alright, there we go. Crystal armor. Ooh, crystal equipment is very good. Crystal equipment, that is a 5-point defense increase for Kryl, so she's looking real strong right now. And soften Ferris back up. Ooh, but I don't have any white magic users right now. I'll just use a couple of high potions in the meantime. I also realize I've been recording for like 40 minutes for this episode, so maybe I'll do the rest of this dungeon in the next episode. We don't have that long to go, all things considered, but the next section's also gonna be kind of cutscene heavy. You know what, I'm just gonna end it off here. In the next episode, we're going to finish up the Great Pyramid of Moor, and then some things will happen. There might be some demons from the interdimensional rift that will come to try to kill us. Maybe we'll be reunited with a lost friend. Or maybe none of that will happen and we just kind of give up on our quest. Who knows?